Hey guys, welcome to another Argent Saga video. This time going over a winning tournament deck profile. We had a box tournament for our release tournament, and I came in first place with Jemial Fizzy. This is a mono blue deck. I wouldn't say it's like the best deck of the format, but given that people are still acquiring new cards, blue by itself is technically very strong. But if you do purchase a box, the boxes do have um, all 5 box topper champions. That is an error. There was only supposed to be one, but they pushed it out with the 5 new ones. And we know that a lot of people are a little upset about Ergon being in the format right now. But this is just a look at a deck that I played, standard 5 towers, because these are the only 5 we have. As far as the shards are concerned, one of the shards that you want to play in mono blue is this one here, Cryptic Crystal. It has an arrive when it comes into play. When you play it from the top of your shard deck, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. So it's sort of a way to scry, and that's going to come in very handy when you look at how this deck is set up. For the most part, you want to hit curve. One of the best cards that you can hit on turn 1 is Azure Seer. She allows you to look at the top card of your deck and keep it at top or put it at the bottom. So you can basically fix your draws if you think you're going to draw a brick. She comes in handy. True Drop is one of my favorite cards in the game. I just love Azure Guardian. Just because he's a big 2000 2-drop Guardian. Can't attack, but for the most part he's there to block. One of the new cards in set 1 is Iakuma Wavebender. Has arrived when it comes into play. You can return target unit to its owner's hand. And you're going to find that bounce theme across the board as we get to some of the other cards in the game. One of the most important cards in the deck at the 3-drop slot, again, is Mayu's Assistant. She allows your water spells to be cost 1 less. When we go over the spell lineup, we're going to see some really cool interactions that she does. We play 3 of her. In the 4-drop slot, we have Iakuma Storm Knight. It has arrived. If you have more destroyed towers than your opponent, you return target unit to the top or bottom of its owner's deck. This is a very much a turn 3, 4-ish kind of deck. So a lot of the times you're probably going to be taking some early tower losses, and she actually helps you get back in the game with that. So you're able to bounce a threat, a big guardian, and speaking of big guardians, we have Iakuma Juggernaut, who has a lot of effects. We play 3. He has Guardian, and then if he uses Guardian, you can switch him back to active, and then if you shard drain 1, he cannot be targeted by spells or abilities this turn. He's got 3000 power, so he's able to block quite a few attacks before he can essentially die. So it's really useful. You might see this in like a lot of blue-white builds. One of the cool combinations that you can do with this card, if you do splash white, you can play the standard shard sealed, which would give it Guardian, but every time he uses Guardian, it gets plus 1k, so effectively keeping him alive longer. In the bigger drop slots, 3 Stormcaster of Azure Tower has Destroyer, so it breaks two towers when it attacks. And when it has the keyword arrive, if there is a destroyed water tower, it doesn't matter which side of the board it is. So if there's a water tower on your side destroyed, or if your opponent has one, he can bounce up to 2 target units your opponent controls, and you put them to the bottom of their deck in any order. And then rounded on out is the big boss monster, Leviathan the Ancient Serpent. It is a legendary, so you can only play 1 7-drop, 4000 power Guardian, Destroyer, and arrive, take control of target unit. Pretty much can steal the game for you right there. In our ability slot, one of the cool things is that all of these were played with keeping a Mayu's Assistant on board. So we want to look at Mayu again and remember that she makes your water spells cost 1 less to play. So if you're able to get a Mayu to stick, something like Ancient Serpent's Breath is essentially free. It's instacast. You can shard drain 1 as an additional cost. If you do, you return target unit to the top of its owner's deck, and then you can return target unit where it costs 2 or less to its owner's hand, and then its owner draws one card. So one of the things that you want to do is if you have, for example, a Mayu, and well, a Zorseer and a Mayu, um, and let's say you scattered ahead and you've attacked with a Zorseer or whatever, and you want to try to dig for more cards, so to speak, and you don't have another Azure Seer in your hand, but you do have Ancient Serpent's Breath. What you can do is, provided that Mayu is still alive, you draw for your turn. So that's one card into your hand. And then you have a window before the untap step where you can play an instacast. So you can play this for free, bounce your opponent's guy with the Shard Drain ability of this, bounce your Azure Seer, and then draw an additional card. So that's something that's like really cool, and it's one of like the really nice interactions that Mayu has with a lot of these spells. Even something as Omega Magic Mizu, which lets you choose one, or if you have two or less towers, you get to choose two. So you can draw a card, you can either exhaust a target unit or return a target unit to its owner's hand if it is exhausted. So it's a 2 cost with one Mayu, it's a 1. If you have 2 Mayus, it's free. We like free. Phantasma Guards with 1 Mayu is free. It makes 2 water tokens, which one of the cool other things is, if you're thinking about advantage, your champion, every time a water unit comes into play, it gets a counter. So Phantasma Guards counts as 2 units, so it'll get 2 counters right off the bat. And you get to abuse that draw. You want to draw a lot of cards with this deck. Reactive Runes is another instacast ability, 2 cost, and you can return target unit that came into play to the top of its owner's deck. This is really handy if you're trying to underplay. If you go to like 2 energy and you play nothing and your opponent plays a 2-drop, you can bounce the 2-drop back to the top of their deck, and it basically sets them behind a turn. We also play 3 Shards of Winter. Shards of Winter is probably one of the best spells in blue. My favorite spell. You just tap everything and your opponent looks at you super salty. I did initially have 3 Tidal Rush. I borrowed the 3rd one from a local competitor. He was kind enough to let me borrow 3. It's basically a more expensive version of Ancient Serpent's Breath. Instacast, Shard Drain 1. If you do, you return target unit to its owner's hand. But the other effect is you can return any unit to its owner's hand, and then you draw 1 card. So whereas Ancient Serpent's Breath says that the owner of the card you bounce draws, Tidal Rush lets you draw your card regardless. And it's a cost of 3. If you have Mayu to stick around, it basically costs 1 less. And that is the build. It was 3 rounds. Played against a red-white, a green-blue, and a mono-black in the last round. Went 3-0. I think the hardest matchup was the mono-black, just because like the golems kind of like stayed there and couldn't do much, but I was able to hold on to Shards of Winter and play them really cheaply and tap them out and bounce them with my big guys, and then got a Stormcaster and a Leviathan to stick, and the game is pretty much mine from there. But just an idea of what you're looking to do in this kind of game. Gen Con is currently going on right now, so good luck to all competitors out there, especially sponsored team Thunder Pals, sponsored by them. They're really cool, great guys. I'm glad to be a part of them. I wish them the best. I hope they're doing really good. And that's the deck profile. So hope you enjoyed, and catch you next time.